Hello and welcome to the Adventures in Arting podcast. My name is Julie Fei-Fan Balzer, and I've been hosting this podcast with my super special co-host and my mom, Eileen Hsu-Balzer, since 2012. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Julie.
So, on this podcast, our goal is to help you develop and maintain a thriving art practice. Now, an art practice is a framework, and much like a garden trellis, you use your art practice framework to help your artwork grow in a particular direction. So, if you love the podcast and you want to go deeper, I hope you'll check out the wonderful community at myartpractice.com, where our motto is create, connect, and thrive. MyArtPractice.com is a membership site that offers early and mid-career artists community and art education. My Art Practice is an opportunity for you to learn, grow, and be part of a creative community. And one of the things that I love about the site is that it's designed to be flexible. If you're busy at the moment, the content will be there waiting for you when you're ready. And if you're raring to go and it's 2 a.m., turn on your computer and your iPad and just jump right in. If you're a joiner, you can chat, submit your work for live coaching, join an accountability group, and enjoy all the benefits of a warm and welcoming community. I was just putting together our calendar for the next cycle, and I can tell you, there are live events almost every week. There's so much to do. You can, again, like sit back or step forward depending on your level of interest. Because if you're more than a lurker, you can always tiptoe through the content without anybody knowing you were there. So, if you're listening to this and it's the first week of April, which is when this episode is scheduled to come out, membership is open for new members this week. Yay! Now, if you're listening to this podcast a little bit later, you can still visit myartpractice.com and sign up for the wait list so you don't miss out the next time membership opens. Okay, so getting down to business. Today is episode 167. 10 questions to catch up and spark creativity. So basically, we took a little podcast break and also, I took a long blog break and I've been taking a social media, I'm taking a lot of breaks. So I was thinking that it would be useful in this podcast to kind of update you, let's all catch up, but also talk about like a rubric that you can use after you take a break, maybe a creative break from making art, and just, you want to get back into it because it can be hard to kind of get back into the swing of things after you've stepped out of it, right? So in order to do that, I create a list of 10 questions that you can use that we're going to talk about to ease back into your own creative explorations. And at the same time, we'll give you a little update sort of as to what we've been doing. I want to mention that my art practice members can find a downloadable list of these questions in the online classroom. Okay, so I don't want to brag, but I feel like I've been super clever because I arrange these questions in what I think is the natural arc of a creative journey. So basically, you kind of move through three stages. You move through reflection to inspiration to action. And this is a total side note, but I think a lot of people do too much action, 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 action without sort of thinking about where they're going or how they want to improve. And at the same time, there are people who do too much inspiration, scrolling through Pinterest and Instagram and all that stuff for hours, collecting ideas, signing up for classes, but never finishing them, maybe a little too much in that bucket. Can you do too much reflection? That's an interesting question. I don't know if you can, maybe if he gets like obsessive or negative, I guess would be the way you would do too much. But the point is, you want to get kind of the full circle of those events and just remembering that it's a cyclical process, not a line. So that means we move in a circle through reflection, inspiration, action, reflection, inspiration, action. If you could see me, I am moving my head, my body, and my arm in a big circle. So we want to do that and not think of it as a straight line. Okay, so all of that said, shall we begin?
Yes, I first have to say that my contribution to our big hiatus is that I got incredible flu and was literally flat on my back in bed for 6 weeks, which knocked me out. And so I take that blame on myself.
Well, really, there's plenty of blame to go around. Steve was in the hospital. There was a lot of reasons and things and stuff that happened. So, And I, of course, never managed to finish anything. So that's a separate issue. Anyway, as long as we're talking about it, let's talk about reflection, which is understanding where you are and where you've been, right? So it's recognizing what's been happening in your life, understanding how your experiences, emotions, and anything that's happened to you really connects to your creative practice. I'm a great believer that you can't separate who you are from what you're making, and you shouldn't try. Who you are is so unique and wonderful and fantastic that it should influence your art. And so as you change, as things in your life change naturally, right, your art changes too. Okay. And I just want to say the other thing about reflection that I think is really important because I know people sometimes skip on the reflection, partially because it can be hard because you may not have the vocabulary to talk about your work. You may not have the distance to understand what's happening. You may not sort of even really be aware of how to talk about, what has been or quantify it in some way. But I think that one of the ways that reflection can be useful is it can reframe time away as valuable instead of wasted. So the time, for instance, that we spent away from the podcast was time that I got to, instead of putting out, I was able to take in, right? So that's a valuable experience, like the consuming of inspiration instead of the giving it to someone else. Um, it can help you have time to process. Like I was saying, one of the things I find very hard is when I'm too close to it, right? I've just finished it, I have my goals, and I need a little bit of space. And then I also think it builds self-awareness. I think self-awareness is one of the most undervalued skills that an artist really needs to have because self-awareness makes creative work intentional and you want to be making work. I think that's intentional. Okay, so first question. Hey, mom, what's been keeping you busy lately?
Aside from lying on my back. Uh, Actually, the one thing you can do when you're lying on your back is you can listen to podcasts. So I did a lot of that. And then I have actually found that tons of places, universities, newspapers, all kinds of organizations have special Zoom uh, discussions, and I learn a lot, and I dabble. It's like I get to see all sorts of things that I wouldn't otherwise. Museums are very good for having tours online,
Mhm.
so I've been doing that, and then basically, uh, I've been figuring out whether I was working hard enough to get out of bed, or or just like pretending it was COVID again. So I am forcing myself actually to go out and do stuff because I now have reactivated my COVID tendency to just hunch down in my cave. It's so comfortable. You can still wear your nightgown all day. Nobody sees you, you know. The other thing is I've been working on I have personal goals like eating more protein uh, and things like that. So I've been trying to be a better human being, and we'll see if anything takes.
Cool. Let's see. So obviously I've been doing a lot of caretaking. Um,
A lot.
and
I will say you've done a ton,
yeah, everybody's had a bunch of health issues. And so
including you.
I feel like I've really been in caretaker mode a lot. I think, winter around New England definitely feels like a hibernating time. So that can be tough. But one of the things that's been keeping me really busy is I am the co-vice president of the board of the Cambridge Art Association. And that's been a whole really interesting project to dig into an organization. And there's always a lot of stuff going on there. And it's given me sort of a new perspective on an arts organization in this climate, and I've had a lot of really great intellectual stimulation from that. It's also kind of stressful because there are issues that any organization faces around fundraising, around grants, around community, around we're in a huge sort of growth and change era. So there's a lot of stuff there that I find both interesting but also a little bit stressful, a little bit stressful.
These are stressful times for organizations anyway, because the economy is keeping people from donating, I think, who might have otherwise
It is.
donated.
It is. I think people are keeping their money close. I know that I've talked to a lot of other people who teach like I do. And I mean, fantastic teachers who I consider like, at least internet famous. And they're all saying like they're teaching classes of four people where they used to sell out immediately. People are just not spending the way that they used to. And I think that that has also been really hard for people. And then there is the kind of COVID mentality like you were talking about. I know that for Cambridge Art, getting people to come out to a fundraising party is somehow exponentially harder than it ever was because people want to stay cozy in their pajamas and hide away, which I totally get because I like pajamas. But speaking of all that and all the busyness, that's sort of a big question. But here's a much smaller question, another reflection question, which is what's something small that has been bringing you joy lately? You kind of mentioned those Zoom lectures and stuff, but is there something else?
Do I consider my grandchildren something small?
Yeah, I mean, they're under 4 feet, so sure.
I feel like it's still connecting with other people in some way that makes an experience worthwhile to me, whether it's reading, watching a movie, talking to them on the phone, it always has something to do with connecting with another person in some way.
Hmm?
And that's what you have to watch out for is if you're so comfortable in your pajamas eating leftovers, then you can sort of forget this other piece. And then all of a sudden you realize you haven't talked to another human being for 3 days, and probably it's not a good thing.
Well, I'm going to be significantly more shallow, and
Could you be?
say and say that we went to the LL Bean outlet and I bought like a crossbody fanny pack kind of thing, but I don't know how to describe it except to say it's surprisingly big. And I haven't carried a purse in a long, long time because I've been diaper bagging it for so long, but we are finally beyond the diaper bag, but I still want to be able to have, my keys, my lip gloss, a little notebook, like whatever else it is. And this bag has brought me so much joy. It sounds so dumb, but it's really easy to carry a bottle of water. It doesn't hurt my back. I can I have reached bifocal age, so I can put my bifocals in. Like it just brings me joy every day when I put it on. And I know this is also well, I'm not going to say it's stupid, but it's insignificant. But at the same time, the fact that I got it for half price at the LL Bean outlet also makes it especially exciting, joyful object because it feels like I got something that I love for an absolute steal. So that
I
makes me
won't
super
question the
happy.
fact that you're calling a crossbody bag a fanny bag because I'm betting it's not resting on your fanny. But I
Well,
will say this, I think it represents more than just a place to put them. I think it represents moving on psychologically from having to carry a billion things for the baby
mhm,
who's no longer a baby. Do you know what I mean? You've reached another stage as a family
mhm.
where you don't, not everything with him is an emergency, and he
Right,
can
because
wait for
I still
things.
do stash like some food for him in the
Yes, but
bag.
I think part of the joy, because I remember moving on from the big bag that I used to carry for the two of you, you and your brother, and it does represent sort of freedom,
Mhm.
another stage of freedom as a parent.
Yeah, I think that's true. And also, by the way, it is one of those bags that you can wear as a fanny pack. It has like a big wide strap or put crossbody, and I am more of a crossbody than a fanny pack person.
All right.
Okay, so the next question is, what's one big thought that is on my mind?
You start.
Okay, so this is something, at the Cambridge Art Association, we had a meeting last night, which is probably why it's so on my mind. But one of the things that we did this board training with this consultant. And one of the things that she said when she was talking about the organization is she said that art is made by culture and art also makes culture, right? Now, that doesn't seem like that big a thought, but was huge for me. It hit me across the face because one of the things that I've been thinking a lot about is, why would people want to donate to an arts organization when they could spend that same money on a homeless shelter or an organization that protects women who are being, trafficked, or, some organization that fights the evil empire, And I think that for me was a huge realization of how important art can be. That art can be revolutionary and it can be subversive and it can force a conversation and it can change people's minds and it can communicate. And that if we don't have art, we lose our culture. Without it, we need it to be able to push the culture forward, to see what the zeitgeist is in some really tangible ways. So that's sort of a big thought that I've been thinking about. And I don't think I've completed my thoughts about it. It's just kind of been spinning in my head since last night.
That is a big thought.
Do you have a big thought? You don't have to, but do you have
Well,
a
I
big
can
thought?
tell you, see, I'm 79. So a lot of my big thoughts are about uh, this could be the end of my life, or I could have another some years.
35 years.
Hopeful, or maybe not. So the question uh, am I, is it okay to relax, or should I be achieving something in this whatever is left? It's
Ultra
up,
marathon.
that's your brother. Uh, I need to feel also that I'm not artificially creating something because I want to enjoy what's left. And sometimes at night when I'm lying in bed, I think about, oh, I should be writing these little notes to you and your brother and to the grandchildren. But really, are they going to care about the notes, or is it that I care about the notes? Like I'm leaving a trail of breadcrumbs for them to follow, but maybe they don't want to follow. And maybe, squirrels will eat the trail and it won't be there anyway. So it's sort of like when you get to this age, you think about what, if anything, I've left undone that I really would like to do. There's plenty of things that I've left undone that I don't want to do, but I probably will have to do some of them.
Mhm.
But the pattern of my life is always, oh, you need to get this done, get it done. And now I feel like I'm starting to winnow out the things I really want to do and the things I have no interest in doing. Um, and I'm more willing to let things go and say, okay, that's going to be Julie's problem.
Well, I would say, like, if you're going to give me all your problems, then also give me all your answers. So yes, write them down and I can sift through which advice I want to take. But I think that's actually, I always think that the things that people treasure when um, people pass away is always the personal thoughts.
Yeah, and it's
Those
not
are the
all
choices.
I want you to know it's not tons of advice for you because I
Mhm.
actually don't think that's the issue. I just think, you know, like anybody, I'm a person that has thoughts that I've never told you
Mhm.
or experiences that I've never told you. The question is it worth my time or
Mhm.
yours
Mhm.
to put it somewhere?
The answer is yes. I will buy you a notebook and you will write down
I have
everything
millions of
and read
notebooks.
it.
That's not, it's
Perfect.
the doing it.
then do it. Do it. It is worth it. But this is the same thing I would tell any of my students or any of the members at my IR practice or anybody, which is like, it's worth it. Be showing yourself to other people, which is what you do when you make art, which is what you do when you write, which is what you do when you do any of that. Like it's all worth it because at the end of the day, it is what you said about the joy in other people as opposed to my crossbody fanny pack. But it is the idea that the joy in life is somebody knowing you, is sharing yourself with somebody else. I mean, this is something actually that my husband Steve and I have talked about, which is the idea that somebody knows you, every nook and cranny of you, and still loves you, still thinks you're great, still wants to be with you is an amazing thing. And I think it's not something, frankly, and very sadly, that everyone gets to experience, you know? And so I think that if you have the opportunity to share all the little parts of you, you should always do it. That's
Every
my
nook
sort
and
of
cranny.
every nook and cranny. Tell me all, you can I won't read it till you're dead. And then if there's something terrible, it'll be in the
Burn
rearview
it.
mirror. There you go. Exactly. Okay, next reflection question. There's two more reflection questions. So the next reflection question is, what's one thing that I've learned during my time away? So thinking about it specifically for the podcast, what have I learned while I have not been podcasting? I can say that I took a great class um, in holograph. So I've done a lot of collagraphs and not been particularly successful. And in that, what I mean is the things that I was seeing online or in videos or whatever else, I was not getting those results. And I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. And because I couldn't figure out what was going wrong, I decided to take a class. And honestly, I did not even need to go to the full class. Day one, she fixed my problem. And I was reminded that as reluctant as you can be sometimes, because there are so many YouTube videos and there are so many great, like free resources, but there is something about an expert one-on-one that is so helpful. She fixed my problems. It was an ink problem. It was an inking problem. It blew my mind. And now I've been very happily making collagraphs at home with what I learned in this class. And it has been super fulfilling and exciting. And I'm absolutely thrilled and tickled. So that's
I just
what
want to say,
I've
I
learned.
want to say that this reminds me of the fact that we always have this fight when I tell you that certain problems are easier to resolve by using the telephone and calling
True.
someone, as opposed to trying to solve it online with an endless email and text stream. And you resist it because you are that kind of person, that kind of generation who thinks that picking up the phone and dialing is a huge labor, and then you actually have to speak to a person who's going to be annoying. And so you let something get huge when in fact you just call the person and ask them. And there you are.
It's definitely generational. And in fact, I know I said to you the other day that I was in a terrible mood and I had to call two or three different people that day.
Oh
And
my God.
it made me in such a terrible mood. And it is a thing. I just talking on the phone. I have to say there's this woman who wanted some of my art for an art auction for a local organization. And it made me crazy because she kept calling me on the phone. I didn't know who she was. And so I didn't answer any of the calls. And then she kept saying, "You're so hard to get." And I was like, "Send me an email. Why do I have to talk to you?" Anyway, it's
But you
just a
didn't say
difference.
it to her.
No, I didn't. I didn't because I'm polite. But I've said it now to the whole world. Okay, but what's something you learned?
Well, I got my Wednesdays back, which is when we
Which is when we record podcasts. Yes.
record. Uh, I learned that having a conversation with you is actually a lot of fun because there's no little kid here, there's no husband here, there's no phone ringing and ancillary things to do. No one's at the door. We don't have other appointments. It's like we've set this time aside, and that is wonderful. And one of the things that I am remembering is that when you first had a child and so on, I thought to myself, well, it's over. because we used to do a lot of stuff together, and now, of course, we can't. But as your child is getting older, we are able to do things.
Mhm.
Um, and he's additive in many ways. So I'm just rediscovering how nice it is to just be, with you in a very unstructured situation and talk.
Yes, because now if I see you by myself, it's like by appointment to do an activity and there's a time in and a time out, right? As opposed
Mhm.
to just like a sort of hanging out thing.
Exactly. I miss the days in the dorm, sitting on the floor at 2 a.m.
You know what
talking.
I mean? But
Yeah,
there
no,
you
I
my
get it.
because I've been a freelancer, I have very much been able to arrange my own time. And before I had a family, it was easy enough to say, oh, I can hang out for like 4 hours because I'll just shift to working from 8 to midnight or from,
Yeah.
11 to 3 a.m. But I just can't do that anymore. So it makes it much more difficult. Things have to be scheduled. Okay, so this is actually leading into our next question. And since you didn't read the thing I gave you before, I was gonna say that I didn't give it to you before, but that would be a lie. I did. You just didn't read it.
Well,
Uh,
you sent it to me at the last minute. That's A.
I
And B,
sent
I
it to
was having
you.
computer issues, which you very patiently waited through.
There are a
And
lot of
now I'm on like my
excuses.
third device here, and we're lucky it's working.
Agree to disagree. Okay, so the next question is, what's my pebble?
Your
Or
pebble.
another word of saying it is, what's my challenge to getting back into it? And I just want to say that I heard someone who I'm sorry that I can't credit them because I can't remember who it is, but talking about how they think about what a pebble in their day has been. And I've actually started something with my 5-year-old where we talk about what's a pebble from your day, what's a success from your day.
So wait a minute. So the pebble is something positive
No, it's a negative.
that you're
It's like something
keeping.
you stumbled over. It's like a little pebble, a challenge. You know what I mean?
It's
So
something that small that you noticed from your day
something
that
small that you noticed
you
from your day
stopped
that was like a
and maybe
wrinkle.
put it in your pocket.
Yeah. It's like something that it's not like a boulder that completely blocked the doorway, but it's like a small annoyance. For instance, you had to call somebody on the phone. That could be a
Wow.
pebble, right? So it's a small annoyance. So the question is like, what's my pebble or what's the challenge of getting back into the flow? So for us, it might be recording podcasts because that's what we're talking about. But for someone who's listening, it might be, what's my challenge of getting back into daily drawing or making art once a week or whatever it is that you've lost touch with that you want to do. So, I mean, obviously, we talked at the beginning a little bit about how we had like a lot of health issues come up, and then scheduling is kind of always an issue. But when I really think about what the pebble is in getting it done, it's I'm trying to think. Burnout seems like a very big word, and I don't really mean burnout. It's like maybe too many fires in too many places. Like just because I am a one-man band singing my song, and it just became this thing where if something had to go to get it done, I'm always going to get the things done for my paid members. I'm always going to get the things done for my clients who pay. Like anything that's a paid thing has to be at the top of the triage list. So anything like the podcast, which I really enjoy doing, but just isn't paid, kind of has to sink more towards the bottom of the list and it gets pushed aside. And so a lot of the questions I have around that pebble are either how can I unburden myself in some ways to allow me to do things that I enjoy, but don't necessarily have financial remuneration in any way, which the podcast is one of those things. It costs me money to do. I don't get anything from it. And one solution, very excitingly, even though I suppose we're not at solution point, but one solution has been my husband Steve has started doing some work on the podcast. For the last two podcasts, if it was terrible quality, talk to Steve. He did the editing of the podcast and that was enormously helpful. It just took something off my plate. And I had a client yesterday that I was talking to and she was saying, for instance, her husband did the framing of her artwork for her, and that took an enormous thing off her plate. And I was thinking again about in these moments how much having a partner, a friend, a parent, a somebody who can just take something off your plate just frees you up in so many enormous ways. And that sometimes it's also like asking for the help. So, what's your pebble?
My pebble is that rather than resisting the idea that we have to schedule time,
Mhm,
although we do have to schedule time,
mhm.
but I should just embrace it and go ahead and schedule it. And the thing I'm thinking about is we used to go to museums a lot, you and I, and galleries and so on. And then we stopped because with the baby, it just became a gigantic, expedition, and you didn't have the satisfactory time to look at stuff and wander. But what I find is that recently we did once again this lecture series, this weird lecture series that the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston has, which is not even listed on their website, and which is, I think it's almost 100 years old, and it was started by a bequest from someone, some Boston lady, and they have a series of speakers who have turned out to all be very good. You have no control over what the topic is, but they've all turned out to be interesting despite the fact that you would never have thought about them. And it gets us into museums. It gets us out, and then we can stay there, or can we walk, down the block to the Isabella Stewart Gardner. It makes us think about and talk about things, and that's been really good. And now that that lecture series is over, I can see us falling back into this old pattern of, unless there's some blockbuster show that's on and we have to get tickets, we don't tend to say, okay, let's take an afternoon and go over
Yeah,
somewhere.
this is in my previous life why I always liked having the sort of high level memberships at museums is because it would be like in your calendar, you would just put it curatorial tour, event, opening, and you just knew that you were going to make it to whatever that museum was like 2, 3 times a month to do various things.
And furthermore, you wouldn't have to pay, because you've already paid the admission through your membership. So you would just go, you wouldn't have to say, okay, now I have to see all 5 floors.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just again like that's a pebble, and it's like yes, like wanting things to be the way they used to be. I felt that way sort of right after I had a baby, is I just wanted it to be the way it used to be, and like it took me some time to accept the new reality of life, right? And I think that's true in anything, which is if you had an injury, if you have some sort of financial change to your life, if you whatever, it takes you a while to accept the new reality of whatever it is that's going on. Okay, so that's all the reflection stage of stuff. So let's talk about inspiration, otherwise known as reconnecting with what sparks creativity, right? You want to actively seek inspiration, but do it without pressure. And it's not about replicating something, it's really about like input and curiosity. Just remembering that creativity isn't all about giving out. You do also need to have those moments when you take in. And also, I think sometimes when you've taken a break from being creative or from the podcast or from exercising or from anything, it gets into this idea of like, I should be exercising or I should be making something. I should be using all the stuff I bought. And instead, I think when you take inspiration in, it can help you start to like get excited, right? I'm excited about making something. Oh, I want to go to the gym. I'm looking forward to it. Whatever. It's also what is creating the bridge or the connection between reflection and action. How do you get from reflection to action? And the answer is you walk through inspiration. Okay. And then finally, I will say, which I've already said before because I keep repeating myself, but it's important, which is inspiration makes your work personal. And what I mean by that is mom and I can go to the same exhibit. We can look at the same tutorial for something. We can listen to the same lecture, but we're going to have two totally different reactions to it based on our own filters,
The
our
right
own,
one that is mine and the wrong one that is yours.
the old one that is yours and the new one that is mine. And it's because you're reflecting everything and you're filtering everything through yourself. So taking inspiration in and filtering it and not just reflecting it is the key, I think, to making your work personal. Okay, so we've been talking about museums. It's the perfect time to ask question number one of the inspiration section, which is, have you seen any great art exhibits recently?
Well, you would know
Well,
because
I
I
consider
probably
that I
would have
have.
gone to it with you.
Yes. Well, I don't know if we like the same things, but I would say so. We went to see there was a Georgia O'Keeffe and Henry Moore exhibit at the MFA, and I have
Which
to.
you might think of as an odd pairing in some ways.
I do think it's an odd pairing, even after seeing it, even after going to a curatorial tour about it,
Yeah, we
even
saw
after
it
all those
twice, I
things.
think. Yeah.
We did, and I will say that I am not a Georgia O'Keeffe fan. But going to, first of all, but I am a huge Henry Moore fan. And the greatest disappointment of my life, besides having to talk to somebody on the phone, is that at the end of the Henry Moore exhibit, I really, really, really wanted there to be like tiny versions of his sculptures or something that you could buy in the gift shop because I am obsessed with them. Nothing. There was nothing. It was very sad. So I settled for a book. But what I was going to say is, I think the thing that I learned in the curatorial tour that really hit me hard was I understood why I don't like Georgia O'Keeffe.
That's useful.
Yeah, absolutely. So useful. So, and it came from the curator talking about the way that Henry Moore worked and the way that Georgia O'Keeffe worked. Georgia O'Keeffe, so clean, so neat, so planned out, so absolutely like knows what she's doing.
Controlled. Yeah,
Yeah,
very
controlled.
controlled.
And I think I feel that in her work. For me, if you love Georgia O'Keeffe, that's awesome. You're allowed to love Georgia O'Keeffe. But for me, her work feels cold. I don't feel it as emotional. I feel it as very like a beautiful glass vase. It's just sort of beautiful and there. Like it doesn't give me anything. And Henry Moore, whose work I find so sensual, so physical, so beautiful, and oddly, I almost think of it as like precarious in some way. But like anyway, what I was gonna say is so, but he worked in a more messy, intuitive, hands-on kind of way, and I think I feel that emotion in his work. And it reminds me a little bit of in my crit group maybe 2 months ago there was some work that people brought in that was so much stronger than work they had brought in before. And in both cases, it was because the work was connected to something emotional for them, but we didn't know that when we were looking at it. It's just you sensed it. And I was again
It's interesting.
reminded,
Yeah.
yeah, that we can sense when we look at work some of how it was made. You can sense the joy, the fear, the control, the freedom, the whatever it was, when the artist was making it. And we have a reaction to it, negative or positive. And I will say that I think if you love Georgia O'Keeffe's work, maybe an interesting thing to think about is your relationship to control. Do you like work that is controlled? Is that something that appeals to you? Do you like to work in a neat or controlled environment? And you can think about that with other artists as well. So I would say that was a very interesting exhibit. I enjoyed it. I'm glad we went twice. That's the one that stands out to me right now. How about you?
I'm just trying to think. I actually think that uh, that exhibit was not memorable for me because I did not respond at all to Georgia O'Keeffe. And so the whole idea of comparison was lost. And I feel that what I really always like is something where I would like to sit down with that artist and have a conversation, which may be because I pick up some emotion from them. And I often have found that exhibits that I really like, maybe it's an indigenous person who did this, or maybe it's something historical, and I just feel like I want to know more. I want to have a conversation with this person. The art that leaves me cold is pretty, but doesn't reach me. I mean, shall I reveal myself as a Philistine? I don't like Renoir, for example. It's pretty, but it's not, I don't feel anything from it. And I don't feel like I would have a good conversation with him.
Renoir, well, how's your French? Would be my first question.
Good enough to have a terrible, childish conversation,
There you
but
go.
it's not that. It's just, it doesn't,
Doesn't interest you that way.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that there is work that speaks to us and work that doesn't speak to us. It doesn't mean that we can't appreciate work that doesn't speak to us or understand it. And I think one of my goals as an artist is always to understand work that I don't naturally like and then to figure out why I don't like it, because that helps me understand what kind of work I want to make, and I think that's an enormous gift. So I love seeing work that I don't like because it helps me learn about myself.
That's actually a very useful uh, intellectual habit that you have.
That's actually, it's actually
For
very useful
once, for
for
once.
one.
Uh, I mean, I think about the things that one is really interested. I mean, I do that with food.
Mhm. The Festival of
I do
Flying
that.
Fruits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's in areas where you have some interest and investment in yourself vis-a-vis this thing. It's a very useful, informative thing to do. I have this reaction too with a lot of architecture. I put myself in the building. I put myself in the house. I look at a kitchen. I say, "Oh, I would like to cook here," or "I would not like to cook here."
Mhm.
Uh, I I just feel like there is something. There has to be some relationship between me emotionally and whatever it is I'm looking at.
Okay, just because we're running a little bit long, I'm gonna push through these next questions. So the next question is, what's inspiring me right now? Books, artists, ideas, experiences. Is there anything that comes to mind that you're like, oh, I'm kind of really interested in this right now?
Does it have to be art?
No. What's inspiring you right now? Like, what I think like creativity is a feeling, it's a spirit. It comes out lots of different ways. I know that even though you always say you're not an artist, you do write some poetry and you do some other things that are really for your own personal, you know, thoughts and experiences. So like what feels like inspirational to you in this moment?
I'll tell you what's inspirational. Again, it's centered around people I'm seeing is my grandchildren. I know this sounds typical grandmother crap, but the gems that your child has said to you have stayed with me. And how he looks at the world. It's great for an old person to have the experience of being reminded how wonderful or how mysterious or how exciting these new thoughts can be to someone very young. It's really, your son is at an age where he has good vocabulary, so it's possible to have a rich conversation with him. And I really am enjoying it.
Yeah, the other day he said to me, he said, Mama, we had watched the movie that won the Oscar, the animated movie. We watched Flood
Flow.
or Flow, and which is a lot about water. And so he said to me the next day, he said, Mama, can water destroy everything or anything? And I said, well, given enough time, yes. And without missing a beat, he said to me, "Well, it can't destroy love." And I was like, "Okay, you got me there. It can't destroy love." And then he said, "But it can break your heart." And I was like, "Is this
Get out the
purposefully
sampler and start
I know,
stitching.
I know. It felt very deep in the moment, and I was just been thinking about it. I do find him very inspiring. I find my relationship with him is something that constantly inspires my work. Right now, I'm having an exhibit at our local library in May, and I need to have 14, they have 14 panels where I need to put art. And I have been working on a theme that I work with a lot, which is thinking about him vis-a-vis nature. And this one, I really wanted to be rooted in the town we live in that the Charles River runs through. And so all of the work is thinking a lot about how his growth and the changes that you see at the river in terms of the plants and the seasons and all those kinds of things, how they kind of flow together and mesh, and how I'm filtering all of that into this artwork. So that's really been the deepest source of inspiration for me at the moment. Okay, next question. And you actually answered this earlier today, which is there anything I'm trying to be more intentional about? Right?
Selfish. I'm trying to be more intentional about preserving my health because as I get older, obviously, I become more frail and I can't be waiting around for magically things to happen. I got to do them. I have to eat differently. I have to drink more water. I have to exercise. I have to, all these things that in the past you don't really have to work at and you can still say, okay, I'm not going to fall down. So I guess it must mean that I'm enjoying my life because otherwise, why would I bother? Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And so something that I've been trying to be intentional about is some of my parenting things, but always. But one parenting thing in particular that's come up for me is trying to, so for instance, this morning, my son, my 5-year-old, I want to watch TV, I want to watch TV, I want to watch TV. I said, "No, you can't watch TV, eat breakfast." And I'm making his lunch for school and I want to watch TV, I want to watch TV. And then so the thing I've been being intentional about is redirecting instead of fighting with him. So I said, "Hey, why don't you do a puzzle? I know you love them, and we could do one of these puzzles." And immediately he stopped asking for TV. He immediately went to the cabinet where we have the puzzles. He picked a puzzle he wanted to do, and he sat down and he started to do it. And the same thing happened. It was after dinner, and he was asking for, "I want chips, I want chips, I want chips, I want chips." And instead of fighting with him, which I normally do, I said, "Hey, do you want to go for a walk with me outside in the dark? We can go for half an hour and take the flashlights." And he immediately said, "Yes." And we went for a walk. And so all of this redirecting has just reminded me it's like instead of engaging in a tug of war, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, that I can be very intentional about pointing him towards something, that's a good and happy choice for him, and that just stops the fight from happening.
And
So
you do that in your art too. So, like, if you're stuck or not happy with something, you could use that same technique, right, and
yeah,
redirect yourself.
absolutely. It's one of the reasons that I like to work on multiple pieces because I'm frustrated, frustrated, frustrated. And so I just redirect. Let's go in a different direction. And sometimes I find that there's the redirection of making a totally different choice. So I'm fiddling, fiddling, fiddling. And then suddenly I say, "I'm just going to cut this part off," you know? And it's just the change of direction can be enormously helpful. Okay. So let us get towards action, which I just want to say this about action. I think sometimes people think, "Oh, I have to finish my masterpiece or, do the entire quilt from start to finish." I think action steps can be small and sustainable. And one of the things that I know I always talk about when I'm talking about developing an art practice is saying that it has to be sustainable. And I say the word sustainable a million times, but that's because if you're going to do something long term, it can't be something that's going to burn you out. That's why they say when you start an exercise plan on January 1st, it can't be exercise every day for 4 hours because you're not going to be able to keep up with that. You're just not. It would be, I mean, maybe some people do, but you're probably not, right? So if you said, hey, I'm going to exercise for half an hour, 3 days a week, that might be more sustainable. You want to do something that you're going to feel successful at, and I think small steps, especially after a break, are important. It's one of the reasons for the podcast we're coming back every other week because I decided that was infinitely more sustainable than doing it every week, right? And sustainable things, so they lower the pressure to make something good and instead focus on just making. Being sustainable and small helps rebuild your creative momentum slowly and naturally. And again, being small and sustainable turns inspiration into practice rather than letting it fade away. So the two last questions we have that fall under action questions are, what is something you're excited to try?
Well, it isn't exercise, I can tell you.
Well, actually, so I
You've
met
been
a guy.
pushing, and your brother is a terrible
I know.
nag.
I know. We all want you to be healthy as you age. But what I was going to say, so I met with a guy today who is a walking expert. So I went, the long story short is I went to PT for a hip injury that I had, and my physical therapist said that I walk incorrectly, right? And so I went to this guy who's a walking expert. I took like 5 steps and he said to me, "Yeah, you do. You walk incorrectly. You don't use your glutes when you walk. And so you're putting all your pressure in as you walk. You're using your hip muscles and your thigh and of course like that's going to make you uncomfortable." And so we worked today for 45 minutes on fixing the walk that I've had for many decades. And
You'll have to show me when this is over. I need a demo.
so actually though, like what I'm excited to try is walking in a whole new way. It was really interesting because I walk with my hips sort of going side to side and twisting instead of straight ahead. And even when I do like a lunge, I twist my hips instead of going straight. So I know it's not particularly on the creative end, but something I'm excited to try is walking, walking properly. Anyway, what are you excited to try, Mom?
Oh, I don't know. I think I'm excited to try. Well, actually, I've been watching a ton less TV
Mhm.
to the point where I sometimes can't find the remote, and that's because I don't know where I put it 3 days ago. And it has made my life better. And I'm trying to use my phone less. I don't actually need to know what the latest thing is that somebody said. I how does it enhance my life? Not really. Usually it just makes me upset. So I'm trying to not just automatically search for some kind of soothing white noise. You know what I mean? I'm trying to, okay, actually, I could put on, I'm still an old fashioned person. I could put on a DVD,
Mhm.
or CD or something. CD is good because I can work at the same time that I have music in the background, and it enhances it, and it doesn't interfere with my thinking. I think one of the problems is you get to the point where you think there's something wrong if there's no other voice in your place. You know what I mean? If you silence, you have to really learn to live with silence. And it's
Mhm.
something that some people can do more easily than others.
I agree.
I mean,
And
I've never been able to meditate. It's not the silence, but it's just like I sit there and I seem to always be thinking, I should be meditating. I should be emptying out my brain. Oh my God, I can't seem to do that. I'm a failure. You know, I think that actually meditation would probably be good for me.
yes. And I also will say this, which is meditation is a way actually of reflecting in a lot of
Yeah.
ways, which brings us back to sort of the beginning of the cycle. And I do think that a lot of times people have the problem of they sit down to take an action, meaning to create, but they don't have anything that they're excited to try. And there's that lost feeling. And I really think if you don't have something that you're excited to try when you're entering into an action step, you need to take a step back and go back into reflection or into inspiration until you do have that moment. Because we all know the experience of having been to a class or listened to a lecture or heard something that immediately you're like, I need to go home and make something, or I need to try that restaurant, or I want to, whatever it is, like the old Liz Lemon thing from 30 Rock, I want to go to there, which is immediately knowing that that is for you, right? And so if you don't have that feeling, it's really hard to take action because at least at the beginning of it, you should be excited, if not all the way through it. Okay, so our very last question is how can you overcome your pebble, whatever it may be, or any challenges that are stopping you in a sustainable way? And I think we've addressed some of that already. Like I was saying with the podcast, one of the sustainable ways of thinking about it is making it every other week. Having, my husband Steve help with the editing has helped that. You know, I used to think of podcast topics like sort of in little batches, like maybe 3 episodes. And then also, when we have guests, it seems like it should be easier to have guests because they do all the talking and you don't have to do that much work. But on the other hand, one of the problems is booking guests, people cancel. There's like all sorts of anyway. So I just have been like, if guests happen, they happen, but I'm not chasing people anymore, which also feels relaxing. So I've tried to think of all of that kind of within the realm of the podcast. And the same actually with my blog. I I was feeling a little bit like I've been blogging since 2006. It is now 2025. So that is almost 20 years of blogging. And I started to feel like I just didn't have, first of all, blogging changed. It's no longer like a log of your life. That's what social media is. It's more people use it like a search engine. They want you to teach them something. And I just felt like I had already said everything to a certain extent. And I think one of the things that's helped me actually is we did a ton of backstage work in the time that the podcast was down. Moved the website to a new host, moved the blog to a new host, rebuilt the entire online classroom, rewrote all the class descriptions, have been going through and keywording, blog posts from 15 years ago, like all sorts of things. And it has actually re-energized me in terms of saying, oh, I do have a different perspective. Yes, I've talked about how to collage before, but now I have 10 years more experience and I can give you more information, or this is actually the glues that I use now, and this has changed. And so that's kind of an exciting reinvigoration. Do you have any ideas for how you're going to overcome your pebbles or challenges?
First, I'd have to remember what I said earlier, that what
That
is my
you were
pebble?
saying that like a block for you was that we had to book creative
Yeah,
like sort of
yeah.
time together. So
Well, I think one of the things that I is gonna you're gonna laugh. Anybody who knows me is gonna laugh. I'm a little bit of a hoarder, and I need to throw some things out, and I need to not feel. See, and I know you do this a little bit with your art supplies. I need to not feel it just because I've paid good money and it's still in reasonable condition, that I have to keep it in case someday, on some planet, I'm going to need it. Um, it's the decision to throw out stuff that kills me. But once I make the decision and do it, I never think about it again.
yeah. That's a good thing in general too, thinking just even from creativity point of view, which is I know on our organizing small spaces podcast, we talked a little bit about, if you're not using it and you're just storing it, throw it away. But it's also sometimes I'm like hanging on to an area of a painting because I like it. I like this area of the painting. I like it so much. But you know what? Sometimes you need to throw it away. And it means you need to cover it up, you need to cut it out, you need to get rid of it. Like it's getting in your way, that
Yeah,
thing that's
yeah.
still there. Okay, I just want to wrap everything up by reminding everybody that creativity is not a straight line. So you're going to go through this loop reflection, inspiration, action, and sort of keep going. And every creative journey kind of cycles through these phrases repeatedly. So if you ever feel stuck, you just return, right, to reflection or inspiration before forcing any kind of action. My art practice members can find a downloadable list of the 10 questions that we went through today in the online classroom. And if you want to connect, which I'd love to connect, you can find me at juliebalzer.com, all over social medias at Balzer Designs. You can sign up for the free weekly newsletter that goes out every Friday. That's always the best way to make sure you keep up on the latest news. You can go to the show page for this podcast to find the link. You can also find it on my website. And if you'd like to help the show, and we know you would, and we appreciate you so much, you can do any of the things that help other people discover it. So that's leave a review, mention us on social media, tell a friend about it. We love you for doing that and appreciate it so much because that really helps us grow. So thank you so much for listening and subscribing. Thanks for figuring out your computer issues, Mom. And we'll see you the next time on the Adventures in Arting podcast.